following program on Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations. We would like to remind our viewers that the views expressed in this program by our participating guests are solely viewpoints of them who take part, and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network.
Welcome down to Gen XYZ right here on Derana 24. Well, today is a very special one. We're celebrating 150 episodes right here on Gen XYZ. It's been 4 years of a journey that we've actually celebrated, bringing to you all of the concerns of the youth right here in Sri Lanka. And don't forget, we've actually got more to give you as we progress along as well. 150th is a pioneering mark, but we will be bringing in more pioneers to come and speak to you as to what exactly concerns the youth of Sri Lanka. So don't forget, it's 150th episode that we are celebrating right here on Gen XYZ, and there is more to come. But until then, stay tuned for more. Well, as special as it is, we've got Dinesh Kanagaratnam, aka ADK. Well, thank you so much for actually joining in today on this episode. Honestly, it's been such a great honor and a privilege to be here right here, sitting right next to you as well, because you are a true legend when it comes to music and taking Sri Lanka right there in the map of the world. So thank you so much for doing that, and congratulations. All right, so with that, I have to ask you something very, very essential when it comes to, how exactly did you really do it in your journey as well? Because only a legend like yourself can actually do it, or tell us exactly how it works, because many people haven't actually achieved it, right? But we're aspiring to actually achieve it. So tell us exactly how your journey was.
First and foremost, I think I still haven't touched that legendary part yet, because I'm still striving and struggling to make a mark for myself. Because learning, as far as learning is there's no stop for learning, right? So you always keep updating yourself. You always start to understand that you need to always gradually learn things to keep yourself running in this industry. So I don't consider myself as a legend, but thank you so much for honoring me with that such a big word. I started in a very modest, humble way. I was a little kid from Colombo 15 with no major choices in life. I had only one choice, which is to struggle and work hard to make a mark for myself. And it was very hard those days, not like these days where we have social media, digital platforms. It was very hard. So it was a very small start, and it all happened all of a sudden. Never thought that I would work with A.R. Rahman, and I never thought I would work in India. So it was a very modest start, so I would say.
I don't think a lot of people know this as well about you, because when you say ADK, we think, okay, he's Indian, he's from India, but you're born and bred and you've been living in Sri Lanka as well, but you've taken it so high, which is like amazing. How was the transition like when it comes to Sri Lanka and India? Because now you primarily pretty much live in India as well.
Yeah. It's all a myth where people think that if you go to India, you can make your living better, or you can become someone big in the industry. Wherever you are, your manifestation and your affirmation, what you believe in, what you want to become is what you will be, right? So when I was in Sri Lanka, it was the same thing. And I'm always proud being a Sri Lankan. I was born here, I was bred here, and I always wanted to carry that pride, calling myself that I'm a proud Sri Lankan. So wherever I go, wherever I want to pursue a project, I always mention that I'm a Sri Lankan, one. Number two is there's a vast difference when it comes to energy, quality of work, and then exchanging knowledge is quite different from Sri Lanka to India. We are more pleasant in certain ways,
Really?
to be very honest, right? India, it's not like that. You got to run. If you want to get something done, you need to run. And you can't have a life and work balance. Here you can actually have a beautiful life if you decide you want to have a beautiful life. There it's very difficult for me. I mean, personally for me. You can't go on a daily trip, or you can't have a regular normal life, because things work very fast in India. You need to keep running. Yeah, so that's different.
As much as you're actually speaking in terms of music and your little transition as well when it comes to India, to Sri Lanka and whatnot, something very essential when it comes to music, especially aspiring music in the youth of Sri Lanka, is primarily the fact that they need to do it. There is so much talent in Sri Lanka as well when you consider the entertainment industry. There are so many singers, so many dancers, so many other performers as well. But the problem is, as much as their dreams are very high, they think it's not achievable because they're stuck in this little cage of a 9-to-5 job, especially in Sri Lanka, right? That also comes with the culture aspect of things as well, because they're like, no, it's too risky if you go into your entertainment industry of things. So how do you break that norm? How do you break that cycle and think, you know what, I have a dream, I want to be a musician, I can make it. How do you make that happen?
Qureshi, it depends, and it differs from person to person. I don't think Sri Lanka or any other country is in a situation as such where artist or anybody wants to do anything, regardless whether you want to become a doctor or an engineer or a musician. Doctor and engineers it's a different profession altogether. To become a musician or to become an artist, it takes a lot of guts, and it takes a lot of time. It consumes time. When we started, that was a big question, because I had to do an 8-to-5 job and do my music, because there's nothing else for survival. But now things have changed. Sri Lankan music industry have expanded to a wider range. We have artists like Umaria, Ashanti, Bhati and Santosh, Iraj. They don't work for anybody. They work for them. So if you become your own boss, you know what to do in life. Because doing 8-to-5 job for me and working for someone else's dream is ridiculous, to be very honest, because you're going to live one life. You pursue your dream. It's more than you pursuing your dream. You live your life. Live how you want to live. So I want to become an artist. I want to become a rapper. I became a rapper because I focused in what I want. I only think about that. I don't think anything else. And if you want to become someone, run like a horse, like where your eyes are tied. You only look straight. Don't deviate. And these days, social media is so big. Everybody is connected. You can reach to A.R. Rahman within a Snapchat second. Last time we used to write emails. We used to wait so long to get connected. So now things have changed. You're there. You can easily get your profession built. So no more, you don't have to do an 8-to-5 job unless you want to do an 8-to-5 job.
Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone wants to do an 8-to-5 job or a 9-to-5 job, but that's something interesting that you mentioned as well. I know that you're an IT profession, but obviously you transitioned to being a rapper and a musician. You don't really understand, you don't really learn the expertise of what your dream is pertained to be when it comes to music. Did you actually learn anything from that? No, you just jumped right into it and you're a profession in that, right? As opposed to doing advertising, to IT, what you actually did. How do you find the balance of that as well? Because I feel like that is also a big, question mark, where you have to learn, you have to do your college studies in what you want to do, and then that's how you're going to make it in life. Is that really a myth, or is it really true?
No, it is the urge to learn. So I was a school dropout. I failed my O-levels. I think I'm a great example for many people that education varies from places to places. Like, it's not just school syllabus that teaches you things. If you want to learn something, you can learn. So I think IT or advertising or creative designs, everything helped me in different ways. I think it's raining. You should. Let's go in maybe, or you want to continue? Yeah. So it varies. Advertising helped me to create my own content. I don't go and give my designs to someone else. I design my own content. I build my own, templates. Marketing helped me to market my own content. So whatever I learned during these days, it all helped me to build my career. So when I create a music, I do my digital marketing, I do my digital designs, I create my content with my team. There were days that I didn't know how to write lyrics, but now I write almost like every songs comes in movies or independent songs. All of them are written by me. So it all how you want to learn. So learning a particular syllabus is not education, to be very honest. That is all basic knowledge for you to expand wider. But that will never stop you, right? So I started speaking well when I realized that I need to speak well. If not, I can't convey what I want to convey. So everything is a learning. So everything, whatever you learn, it will help you one day to put together.
Yeah, I feel like no matter what your profession is right now as well, it will come in handy in the future as well of what you want to do with your dreams. So that's a good point. But in some certain cases, when it comes to music, right, what was the inspiration for you like to be like, okay, this is what I want to do? How did that ignite in you?
My inspiration is basically greedy for attention. Yeah, that is my inspiration.
Okay.
To be very honest, I was inspired by by getting attention, because I never got that attention in school. I never got that attention because I always had this inferiority complex that I'm not a good-looking kid. I'm not saying good-looking has to be like this, but it's all your heart. So I thought I never had the confidence that I'm a good-looking kid. So I never got the attention. Maybe I never strive for it. Again, remember, what you think, what you become, right? So when I broke that and I realized, okay, no, I need some attention. That's when I thought I need to do something that where I'll get attention, either acting or music or anything that brings you attention. That's when I started, I met Bhati and Santosh like 17, 18 years back. I was their designer and I never knew how to do music. So one good day I thought, if I don't ask now, I will never ask. Then I asked Bhati Iyer that, I need to write a song and create music. That's how I started. So I didn't know anything about music. But that drive to learn, and when people put you down, and when people say that you can't do anything, I think that is the biggest medicine that any artist could have, that you always want to prove them wrong. You don't necessarily have to prove anybody wrong. You just work for yourself. But we being human beings, we always start like that. I will prove you wrong. But then it becomes a practice. You say, I don't have to prove anymore. I'll prove myself.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, that brings the question of, okay, so you obviously said that you were seeking attention, oddly. A very odd connotation of being like, okay, this is what started music. But you obviously have to fall in love with what your dream is, right? So you might have definitely fallen in love with music because that is what you really want to do. How did you fall in love with music?
I never fell in love with music.
You still haven't fallen in love with music?
No.
Okay.
I think I fell in love with me.
With you?
Yeah, I love myself more than anything else. So I want some sort of a limelight to me. I want some sort of an earning. I love writing music. I love scoring. But more than that, I want to become an actor. But I never took step to it because I think I'm still not confident enough to stand in front of a camera and deliver that thing. So the only thing that I have right now is music.
Right.
So I write as much as I can. And when I write, I don't write with a specific mindset. I openly write. I think the love for that attention, as I said, is the reason for everything. I do love my music, I'm not saying no. But I love me more than my music. I want that attention in some sort. It can be music, acting, drawing, designing, creating content. So I like to do everything. If I see you doing interviews tomorrow, I want to say, I want to do this interview so then I can become him.
Okay.
Or I want to do that influencer,
Right.
what the influencer is doing. I will start doing influencing, so all those stuff. So yes, I do like music, but I love me more than music. Yeah.
Okay, it's a very interesting take that you're actually giving us right now as well, but we'll talk on the other end. We're joining in right here on Gen XYZ at a very beautiful place, by the way. It is by the lake. This is Thotapula by the lake, and this is absolutely a stunning place. You've got to come by and enjoy the aesthetic that they actually have to offer to you right here as well. And with that, we'll be right back with ADK, by the way. So thank you so much for that. We'll talk a little bit more right after a short commercial break. Welcome back, and we are in conversation with ADK Dinesh Kanagaratnam. Well, I love the little short name that you've got as well, ADK. What was the inspiration behind that, by the way?
My name was too long, so
You
I had no
decided-
option.
Right.
Because in India, when you do digital marketing, if your name is too long, it's very difficult for them to tag.
Right.
So I made a decision that I need to make it short, so then ADK came.
All right, that sounds quite interesting as well. Now, on the previous segment, we spoke about, finding the compassion and the love for your art, right? Music especially. When you mentioned that you really want to do acting, you don't necessarily you didn't really fall in love with music, right? That throws me back a little bit, because it's like, okay, it could be a different motive that you want as well, but it's rather knowing exactly that you can do it and you go forward with it, right? So what was the ideology behind that?
First of all, I did fall in love with music in a different way.
Okay.
Because the reason I said that is I love me more than anything else, so that whatever brings me attention is I grab it. So I think acting is one of my biggest passion. So I always wanted to become an actor in a different form. You are an actor, I'm an actor, we act in different ways. When I write my songs, I eventually become an actor, because you need to go into that character, you need to feel that character. So vocally I become an actor. So when I write my song, I make sure that this is the character that I want to show, this is the character I need to expose, so then I write. You need to constantly think about that character, and if you don't become that character, you cannot write that song. So every singer, every creator, every art director, everyone has that actor in them. So I always want to become an actor, but I'm waiting for the right opportunity for me to craft and release my movie, because I will have the entire freedom to act the way that I want, or to tell a message the way I want. Because I'm very scared when someone directs me, if I don't deliver what they want, it might kill my confidence. They might say, this guy can't act, or I'm very scared. So I need to experiment that first, if I can act or not, and then I'll go into the bigger picture.
Okay, so you are having a little work that's going on under the works as well, which is obviously a movie that you want to act by yourself, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to your own movie, you're doing the script writing, you're directing it, you're producing it as well.
Right. I don't know if I'm producing it. I don't have that kind of a money.
Okay.
But definitely, if there's a producer, that movie will come out. But
Okay.
it's a small movie with a simple synopsis. So hopefully, let's see what happens.
Quite excited about that as well, but something else that I find very exciting is the genre of music, right? So we've got quite a lot of the youth that are actually watching in right now as well, want to find the inspiration to pursue music. You pursued music, you also fell in love with music as well, but obviously finding a genre, I love Hollywood music, right? I gotta be honest, I love Tamil music, I love Sinhalese music, I love Bollywood music as well, Western music, love, right? But how do you really find the little genre that you want to do? Because you started rapping, right? And then you eventually started singing as well. How do you really find it and be like, okay, this is the genre I set well in?
No, I eventually started rapping. I was actually singing first. I'll tell you why, Qureshi. As I told you, I was inspired by Bhatia, and I wanted to start writing songs. At that time, I didn't know, I have no clue how to write a song. So there were a lot of other singers and rappers who were helping me to write songs. Then I decided I need to learn to write, and I started learning. I used to sing. So people said that I was not hitting the right note, I was not pitching. I have no clue about this. But now, yes, I'm pretty much good with those things now. So I was literally thinking, how am I going to pursue a career being a singer? Because nobody is respecting me, nobody is understanding my capabilities, or maybe I'm not good enough. That's when rap came into my mind. So I listened to this artist from Malaysia called Yogi P. and Nachatra, and they were amazing in 2007 when I first heard them. I thought I can do this. You know, it will tell you, it's not jealousy. When you hear something, you become very curious, and you will think, how come he's doing I can't do? And you will have that body language in you that you don't want to show others. You will control it, and slowly you will start listening to it again and again and again and again. And then it will tell you, start writing, start doing something. So that's how I became a rapper. So what's feeding me right now is my rapping skills, my writing skills. So eventually you'll come for our show, which is happening on August 4th at Lotus Tower. You will definitely experience how much of a struggle I would have gone through If you hear, I'm going to play a new intro for myself. That intro will tell everything about me, if you understand Tamil. So,
Yeah, I do.
so yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And you obviously chose Tamil as well, the language to go forth with. Do you find a difference, because you did music in Sinhalese as well, and Surangani was the song that you actually manifested. I mean, it just went viral. Okay, I love that song as well, because I was in school when I was singing this particular song. So you made a different remake of that as well. So how did that come about? Like, how did you think of that little hook? You know, Surangani, Surangani. It's still in people's minds. You know, it's such a legendary song.
First of all, I don't have a choice. I have to do it in Tamil because I come from a Tamil background, and I think I need to inspire Tamil kids to do on their own language. It can be even any language. They should first of all do it in their own language. So Surangani happened on an ego clash. It happened in a very beautiful way. I'll tell you how it happened, because I was cutting my album that time, my solo album. And I wanted to produce this in Malaysia because I got inspired by this Malaysian artist. So I thought if I go to Malaysia, I can create a beautiful album. So I went to Malaysia with another friend of mine. I don't want to mention his name. Unfortunately, there was a lot of political things were going on. I had no clue. Eventually, I couldn't release that album, and they held that album, and they said that I'm not going to give you this album. It was about all around like 10 songs. Then I told myself, okay, fine. Let me come back to Sri Lanka and reproduce. And I want to prove these guys wrong. And it took me 1 month to produce an entire album. And that was very fast, that was very quick. Even now I'm working on an album called Flop. I finished almost 10 songs within a month. So that's how fast I work. So eventually I want to do a Ghana song, a typical South Indian style Ghana song. And we've created this beat with Pasanli Nage, me and myself and my friend called Shafras. We were going in the car, we had no clue what sort of a tune we should put. And suddenly this tune came. So I was in the car, I was like humming, and then suddenly it was like Surangani, Surangani. It was just one note I, right? And then we turned the car back. We came to the studio, we recorded. You won't believe, the same night we mixed and mastered and we gave it to the stations. Wow. And it became a hit overnight. That changed my entire life. That song became Aatichudi in India. Then from Aatichudi I went to Rahman sir. So this one song changed my entire career. Yeah.
You spoke about Rahman sir as well, because obviously A.R. Rahman is, you know, he's the epitome of legendary when it comes to, you know, he's won Oscars and so much more as well. And we've got him in India, you know, in Asia, very close to Sri Lanka. How was it like working with him? Like, how was the first step of literally just going up to him and being like, okay, you're in a room with a legend right next to you, you know, and for you coming in from humble beginnings, how was that experience like?
No, that humble beginning kept me very modest even at that time. I never took it to my head. Like, you know, working with a human being like Ramanji and his knowledge and his kindness. The reason, because he's so successful and he's so amazing with all these artists. He gives you utmost freedom. Example, he will not give you a song and he will not tell you, this is what I want. He will never tell you that. He will give you the space and he wants things from you. So once you deliver all of those stuff, he takes and he composes his own song in a different way that you will never imagine. So all you get is a metronome and a kick for you to write and some chords. And you write the whole song and then he takes and he crafts it in a beautiful way. So being, I've been touring with him for the past 7-8 years. My last tour was in Germany, Swiss, Paris, and then we went to the UK. I had so much fun. And now I recently released a song with him for a movie called Rayan. You know this actor called Dhanush? So for his movie, that is one of the best songs that I've written, called Odadara Odadara. It's a very dark song, but he gave me that space. So very happy to being a Sri Lankan to work with him. Yeah.
How is that experience like? Now, obviously you do rapping, right? You obviously sing as well on the end. So how is it like, for example, okay, now say A.R. Rahman gives you like a beat. It's like, example, it goes dish, whatever it is, right? That was the word. But it goes in that way, right? And then it's up to you to actually like go follow the little beat as well and then start like writing all of the stuff. You said that you follow a character, you embody a character. How is that experience like?
So I'll tell you what was the brief last time. So he called me suddenly and like, you know, one of his engineers called me and said, you know, sir wants you to the studio. My home is right beside his home, right? It's
really?
Like 5 minutes away. I just casually went and then he was there sitting down. And I didn't know Dhanush was there, actor Dhanush, and Dhanushji and Ramanji, both of them were there. I saw them and I was like so excited. And then I asked him, what is this? And he said, yep, I got a typical song for you. This is what I want. And they narrated. They gave me an idea on what they want to portray. And I took this beat to the other studio, I sat down. And eventually I started watching the trailer for like 2 minutes. I went into that trailer like another character. So Dhanush is the main character. I became the other character. And I started seeing that character through this. So then I started writing in that form. So when I wrote the lyrics, it's from a third person point of view, the lyrics.
Okay, right.
So that's how we work. So it all depends on how you want to write. So I'm a very metaphoric writer at times. I think I'm a metaphoric writer. I might,
You are.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are.
I might confuse you at times. But that is how I am. That comes with experience and all this stuff. So that lyrics is very metaphoric. People won't understand the inner meaning of it. It's very sarcastic. So yeah, that's how we write.
I feel like anyone can take different notes of that as well.
Yep.
You know, because if it's metaphorical, the artistry of metaphorism is anyone can take it and perceive it in different ways, and that's true artistry. And then kudos to you, man, for really doing that.
There's one line, sorry if I interrupt you, like there's one line called Ulagam Ramba Sirisida Ana Odina Mudivu Illada. It means the world is so small, but when you start running, you'll never stop. It's that big. So that is what the idea. So basically, the world is small. Everything is in, but you can't stop running in the world. So that's the meaning. So it's about cycle. It's about people. How survival. So I wrote it in a different way. Maybe if you understand Tamil.
I do. I love that, honestly.
Then you should listen to it.
Yeah, 1000%. First thing when you go home is obviously YouTube it and listen to it. Love it, man. Honestly, your music is definitely something that we very much love as Sri Lankans, because you've taken it to such heights in the world, and that is what the youth right now watching as well wants to and has to inspire to be just like you. Honestly, thank you so much for that. But with the step that you've actually taken, you obviously see Sri Lanka. So many artistry, so many artists as well that actually find themselves wanting to do music. But the only way they can be seen is because the competition in Sri Lanka is very high, even though it's a small island. They would go into a reality music show, right? And that's the only way they can be seen. But you don't have agents, you don't have music records in Sri Lanka. There is no way to actually see unless you have contacts. If you're rich and you have contacts. What do you think about this? Because is there a way that the youth watching it right now as well, aspiring to be musicians, how can they navigate this? Say that, okay, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I think this question is actually, it amazes me the way that you ask this question, because which is very true. We don't have publishing house in Sri Lanka. Publishing is basically someone who publishes your music and collect royalties for you. So publishers work very closely with record labels, with artists. So we don't have record labels. We only have distribution houses here. So distribution houses is where they take your music and they distribute it. A record label is a house where they hire artists. They will build their records to produce, give their slots, get them to do their crafting in a studio. An artist management company is a company that manages the artist. They will tell you what you should wear, how you should behave, what sort of interview you should do, where you should go, all this stuff. And this publishing house is where they collect royalties for you. And there's a digital company that distributes. So sometimes there's a 360-degree company that will come into action and take care of this artist. We don't have a company like that in Sri Lanka. So my advice is to the youth and the youngsters these days is, because you become that 360-degree company. Don't depend on a label, because you can be your own label. I'll tell you how. You write your own songs. You produce your own songs. You can produce songs these days in anyhow. You don't have to give it to a record label to distribute it. Yes, of course, you need money power. If you don't have the money, you can't market it. That is true. But you can start, you can have a humble start. If the song is good, you don't need a label, it will eventually become a hit. You can distribute your content on your own. By distributing your content on your own, you hold the copyrights for that. You are not selling the copyright to anybody else. If you hold the copyright for yourself, tomorrow if there's a movie coming, you can synchronize these songs to the movie if they want, if the song becomes a hit. But if you give it to a label, they have the full rights. I'm not saying don't go to the label. No disrespect to any label. But since we don't have a label in Sri Lanka, they can produce music on their own, they can distribute it on their own, they can talk to a publishing company, PRS or IPRS or whatever, and they can sign with them. All you have to do is give your song details and your meta, they will collect royalties for you. And then don't think up too much on marketing it. Do your own designs, or find a friend who can help you design, market it across the island, social media or whatever. You don't have to do posters these days. Posters can go digital.
But the problem there is, ADK is the algorithm, really finding the algorithm there as well, right? We'll talk on the other side, but right now we are in conversation with ADK. Thank you so much, honestly, for doing this. He's a legend in music. He's actually taken our flag very high in the world out there as well. Very proud to be standing right next to him. We'll talk to him as to how you, if you're interested in music, how you can aspire it and how you can execute your dreams to make it a reality. But until then, we're going to bounce right into a short commercial break. Welcome back to Gen XYZ right here on Other Derana 24. We are in conversation about music. If you're a musician looking forward to getting inspired doing music, well, this is exactly the legend that you gotta look for. Okay, this is ADK. Well, I'm sorry, man. I gotta be honest, okay? It's literally such an honor standing next to you because you're such a legend, because you've taken our flag right up there in the world. And it's a mega thing, right? So in the previous segment, we were talking about, algorithms and record labels and so much more.
Yeah.
Algorithm in Sri Lanka, because you mentioned, you can produce your piece that you want, you can just record what you want to do, you can sing it, you can put it out there on your own, because social media is a big game right now.
Right.
But algorithm is a big game too. So you need to get the algorithm, in sort, so you can actually get your music out there and be seen.
It is very tough, but if you sit thinking about algorithm, you are putting a full stop for your creative ability. Because more than you thinking about writing a great song, you will wasting your energy on thinking about how the algorithm works. That is someone else's job. That is a content developer's job or a content publisher's job. So if you have a good, say, a publishing house that helps you to promote, or if you don't have, you are doing it on your own, you will have a friend who is more keen and interested on creating content for social media. So he will study how to do it. He will say, okay, fine, you have this content, let me see how the algorithm works for this. How can we make people come and watch this? How can we direct people to this particular song? So that all depends on that person's interest. So for example, if I'm writing a rap song, so shall we sit?
Or, yeah, let's have a seat.
So, so basically that person will say, fine, you have written a nice rap song. Let's target the audience who like rap music. So he can be a student and he might say, I'm going to this college and I'm studying this. Let me try, let me experience. So you can't try to do everything at one time. It will happen eventually. So there will be a friend who can help you. So you don't necessarily try to do it on yourself. He might know about the algorithm. Even people who knows about algorithm will never able to judge algorithm. So it's very difficult. It's like a husband and wife. So you cannot. So it works on its own. So there are some excuses or there are some points. They say, okay, post at prime time. Post on a Friday. Post on a Saturday. I don't believe in all of the stuff. If people wants to watch it, they will watch it or they will ignore it. If the content is good. So yeah.
I mean, there are so many content pieces as well. Example, if you take, on an international base of things, right? If you take Lizzo's song, this as good as her music is, only once she actually had a different song that, went viral. After 4 years, that piece of good music actually came back on top of the charts.
Yes.
So even though there are actually good pieces, there are good artists, there are good content, even the content piece of the quality of the content doesn't really, navigate to see, okay, if it's going to be a success piece because of the algorithm. So that's a big problem, isn't it?
You can't only depend on algorithm. There are a lot of other ways that you can make a song go viral. You can, no matter how much you release on in social media, you need to take the song and perform on performing platforms like concerts. You need to see it happens with experience. Once you release a song, you will have a pre-promotional plan, then you have a mid-promotion plan, then you have a post-promotion plan. When a song hits, that's the whole idea of creating music. Your content might not become a hit today, but your content will become a hit in another 2-3 years down the line. So don't lose hope. So for me, example, the song that I did with A.R. Rahman ji, like that was my first song. It was not a big hit at that time. People knew that song, but it didn't go viral. People didn't go crazy for that song. I went into a commercial reality show. I stayed there for almost 102 days in that show. It became a huge hit. Then people started researching who this guy. They came across this song, and that song blew again. And that song is taking me on tours these days. And whenever I start rapping that song, people go mad. So you never know when the song becomes a hit. It has got nothing to do with algorithm either. It is something to do with people. If people are more curious to know who you are, you will become a hit.
Yeah, I like the way you put that out there as well, because it's about connection, it's about people really connecting with your piece or your artistry. That's amazing. Something else, ADI, which I wanted to actually mention is when it comes to, musicality and when it comes to really actually losing hope. That's something I want to touch base on as well, because it's a very sensitive subject, right? As Sri Lankans, we're very sensitive. We're absolutely sensitive. We're very prone to fail in many things as well, but when we fail, we tend to sort of look in avenues that are not safe for your body. You would definitely, try to lose yourself. You would try to use enhanced substances to get over the mentality of, okay, I work so hard. Why am I failing? Why is it such a bad thing? Because the music industry is a cutthroat industry. Right. It's brutal. Right. The next minute you might be, the big popping star. The second minute you might be like, okay, we don't want you anymore. You're a downfall. There's no space for errors. That's the bad thing about attention. Right. You get attention, but then when you get the smallest little error, you're downfall. Right? So it's a very sensitive topic as well. And I know you have been there. You've definitely been there as well, because it's very common. How do you navigate that? How do you get over it? Because I know for sure so many out there watching right now as well, they do not feel confident, especially when you get to that stage. It's a very negative aura, you want to get over it. How do you do that?
Qureshi, basically it's not just Sri Lankans who are sensitive. It's everybody who's sensitive. You don't necessarily have to be an artist to be sensitive. Creative people are very sensitive because they are like child. They always think about inspiring others. They always wanted that attention. Example, like how a little kid runs to the dad and say, "Daddy, look at my drawing." And if the dad ignores that drawing and he says, "Nice," and just leave it away, he or she will get so hurt. So we are like kids. So we are very sensitive people when people ignore us. And that had happened to me at many times. Sometimes your song will work very well. Sometimes you will not get that attention. Sometimes when you put a post, you'll get 80,000 likes. Sometimes when you put a post, you'll get only 5,000 likes. It has got nothing to do with your work or your ability or a talent. It is all acceptance. You need to accept who you are. You need to accept the fact there's always someone to replace you. When your time comes, you need to stop, or you need to move on, or you do something else. Substance is not a it's not a escapism situational thing. Like, you can't escape by having substance. Substance will never make you look good. My only advice to the young crowd is that taking all these substance will definitely put a full stop to what you actually want to become. It will not bring you anywhere. I don't do that. But I don't also say that, I used to, if I can openly say, I used to be a heavy smoker. And I thought smoking relaxes me. But ever since I quit smoking, it had made me much more a better person. It has given me time to think, breathe. So all this habit has to go. There's nobody in this world with no habits. They will have, but try not to go into substance. And always understand there's always someone to replace you. And also never give up in your dreams. It doesn't matter if people don't appreciate you now. There is someone who will appreciate you. That person is enough for you to become someone. So find a person like that and always walk with people who supports you unconditionally.
A support system is very important as well, which you mentioned, because I know in terms of you had a good backing when it comes to your parents as well. You know, they really supported you, especially when your dad, you know, obviously were in IT field, and when you showed my son's popping up in the newspaper, what's going on, so he was happy. But how do you really find that support system? Like, because it's a difficult situation to come into, you know, especially with your parents as well. So how do you find the support system?
My Appa was always, he liked me whenever I did different stuff. He's someone who never forced me that education is the only option for you to become someone. Education comes in different ways, different forms. So when my first article came on paper, my Appa was the most happiest and the proudest. My Amma is very quiet, she's very quiet, but she doesn't know much about all this stuff. But now she knows everything, she knows what I'm doing, and they are actually very proud. So not just them, even I have friends who tap my shoulders and say, hey, listen, what you're doing is wrong. This is not what you should do. Don't always keep people who pamper you with words. Be very careful with people like that. People always tap you and say, hey, you're the best, you're amazing. Those are not actually motivating, to be very honest. They can still tell you, even though you're not good. There should be someone who can tell you that, no, this is not working, this is not right, stop it. Those are the people who actually love you. They're not trying to put a full stop to you. They're trying to tell you, if you do this, it might turn the other way around. So you need to have people who actually supports you, motivating you, and teaching you some morals in life at times. Because music or this type of fame or attention or popularity can divert you, so you can't deviate. You have to always remember that you have to be humble, modest and kind to people, regardless of whoever they are. You should always remember, the more humble you are, the more you won't get hurt.
Yeah. I love that. Talking about being humble, I know that you used to be a cricketer in school as well, right?
No. How do you know all this?
I'm going to bring it up, okay? So you used to be a cricketer.
I tried to be one day.
Yeah, but you weren't a good fielder.
Yeah.
What's the situation there, man?
No, one of my friends used to make fun of me, saying that, why don't you remove your pads and put the bats on as pads, because I was that bad, that's what they consider. But I know that I was good. But again, if they motivated me at the same time, there's a thin line between discouraging someone and telling someone to be better. Yeah, okay? You should not discourage people. So I was discouraged when I wanted to become a cricketer. That pushed me to go into nets, go into different cricket clubs and play. I did play well, but yes, I am not a great fielder because I'm dead scared to the ball, the hard ball.
Okay.
So when you catch, you need to take your catch like that.
Yeah.
But that time I used to catch it like that. So my best friend Radhishan always used to tease me.
Yeah.
But I think I've become better in some other field.
Yes.
I've become phenomenal to me. As I told you, you should always think that you are the best, only to you. But when you talk to someone else, you should not ever show that. So I was not a good cricketer, but yes, I became someone better in whatever I do now.
1,000% educated. But talking about you doing so much better, you've actually taken our flag really high up in the world as well, right? I constantly keep saying this because you really have done that. Only a handful of Sri Lankans have done that, and you're one of those. And
Thank you.
We're very proud to have you.
Thank you.
As we are coming to the end of this interview, I'd like you to actually do us a small favor.
Yeah.
Would you like to sing us a song or rap a song?
Yeah, I'll rap my first song with Ramanji.
Okay.
The reason I want to do this is this song made people believe that this guy has some sort of a talent and he should be respected. If I never worked with A.R. Ramanji, they would have still seen me as someone who's trying. Okay, so this song is called Magudi, one of my favorite songs. It's going to be very high, so forgive me.
Go for it.
So it goes like a விடகுடுத்திட வழிகளை அமைப்போன் விதிகளை மாற்றிட வரங்களை படைத்திடவா கனவில்லை இது நிஜமென்று ஒரு முறை கண்களை பார்த்து தான் சொல்லிடவா திராவிடம் பூமியில் ஆளத்தன் பிறந்தவன் கொடியேத்து நாட்டிட பிறந்தவன் நான்டா நவீன உலகை அழிக்க நினைக்கும் கழிவுக்கு சாகு நீ போதும் நீ ஊது மகுடி 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 மகுடி. So that's the song.
Wow.
I have a very bad throat infection after the show,
okay.
so maybe excuse me. I think a lot of people these days in social media start scrolling, but that was good though, by the way.
It was
not
good.
bad,
It was good.
Yeah.
Man, like hands down, honestly, such a legend. Though it was so inspiring for me to literally be here right now listening to you as well. Man, honestly, like kudos going out to your talent. And I know there's so much more as well for your talent to be there. With that, I'd like you to obviously tell us a little bit more, because when it comes to the youth that's watching right now, who wants to be inspired, who really wants to really see something when it comes to what their dreams are. They might be doing the 9-to-5 job, but they still want to pursue their dreams as well at the same time. What is the inspo that you actually have to tell them?
Take risk. Take risk. Learn to love risk. Because when you take risk, you will start respecting yourself. Because taking a risk needs a lot of guts, where people these days need to build that. If I never took risk in my life, you wouldn't be talking to me right now, right? So taking risk is a very important thing in life. And don't be afraid of people giving you comments. Take them, collect them all, and convert it into what you love. So,
I love that. I love that, honestly. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for doing this interview as well. It's been such an honor, such a privilege for me as well to actually be sitting right next to you and doing this. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And with that, of course, it comes to the end of Gen XYZ right here on Other Derana 24. Don't forget, if you do actually miss out on an episode as well, you can catch us on youtube.com/Other Derana English. And in case you're wondering where exactly is this beautiful place, it is Thochipola Lake Resort, and you've got to come by here and definitely enjoy what they've got for you as well. They've got some adventure sports going on and so much fun stuff. Definitely come by. And with that, I shall catch you on a different episode right here on Gen XYZ.